What you are about to see and hear is real. This video is not suitable for younger audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Before we dive into this short documentary, if you would like a chance at winning a night vision monocular, just like this one, like the video, comment on the video, and make sure you are subscribed. That's all it takes. A random comment will be picked and announced at the end of the following episode. The more you comment, the higher the chance. Best of luck to you. Let's get today's episode started. A YouTube channel named the Half-Inch Wrench Crew started investigating a strange phenomenon in their backyard. What they found made their blood run cold, leaving them with more questions than answers. This property is located in southeast Missouri and is well known for Sasquatch encounters, paranormal activity, UFO sightings, and other strange creatures that lurk in the night. This is their story.
We used to come down here. We had a cabin there. We came down here every weekend camping. The cabin was built up off the ground, way up, because of the water. So it had a 4-foot You know, like under space, underneath the cabin. That,
Space.
what do you call it? Crawl space.
Like a flood cabin.
Yeah. But we were all in there one night, and we'd all gone to bed, and there was one bedroom. Mom and Dad had all sorts of beds in there, because they had them, and they had all those kids and the cousins that would all come on the weekends. It was like the gathering place every weekend, you know. And one night we're all in there in bed, everybody's just about asleep. Dogs are all laying there sleeping on their rugs. And all of a sudden something starts beating on the front door. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, it was like the whole wall like shaking. They were beating so hard. Well, my dad jumped up, grabbed a gun, which he always kept by the side of the bed, and was yelling, "Who is it? Who is it?" By the time he got to the front door, then it was doing it to the back door, beating on it. Boom, 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 boom. And it went on like that. Dad was going back and forth between the doors. And then we was all screaming bloody murder. Imagine, cabin full of girls, and, well, my cousins were boys.
They were screaming too?
Everybody was screaming. Nobody knew what was going on, you know? We didn't know why was someone beating all over the side of the cabin. And then my mom said, look at the dogs. Stop screaming. Look at the dogs. The dogs never woke up. All that screaming and all that beating going on the cabin. The dogs never woke up. It's like they were hypnotized. You know, like something put a spell on them. And I'm talking Great Dane in a lab. That were prone to bark at everything. So, I don't know. But I think that was Sasquatch. I don't know. I think there was more than one. Because that or he was pretty fast getting from the front door to the back door, front door to the back door. You know, I don't know. It was scary. It was scary as all hell, though. But I can remember one time we were little kids. Grandma and Grandpa's cabin was built off the ground. Way in the front, it wasn't so high. It was probably 3 foot off the ground in the front, 3-4 foot. But in the back,
it was way high.
Way high. You could drive a truck with a camper on it, under it. My Aunt Lupe used to camp under it. That was her, you know, it was like a pavilion to her. That's where she camped. With all her kids. Well, a lot of us all stayed upstairs with Grandma. But one night we were down there with Grandma and Grandpa all camping. And there was something fighting underneath that cabin. Just sounded like bears. I mean, just going at it. Growling. You know, you would have thought the only animal that big to make that much ruckus under there would have been bears. I mean, it wasn't coyotes, it wasn't dogs, because they didn't make dog noise. Like you'd hear a dog fight. And my grandpa kept saying, that's got to be bears, that's got to be bears. But now, when I look back on it, I think that was also maybe 2 Sasquatches fighting over food they could smell, you know, because Grandma always cooked outside. She never cooked in the house, very, very seldom, unless she was making like blackberry dumplings or something. Something we'd all picked, you know. But
That sounds good.
yeah, it was strange.
I like
We've seen them before. One night there was a guy down here fishing, what we used to call the swinging bridge. Down here, it's halfway between here and the low water bridge. And he come running up here, screaming that there was red eyes looking at him while he was fishing, you know. And he come down here. His friends apparently had gone to town on a beer run and left him there, fishing. And he come running down to our cabin, wanting to know if he could stay there or my dad could give him a ride to town till they got back. So, and I've seen him down there in the woods. But I'll tell you what, one day during the daytime, I was walking down there and I heard growling, just like a demon growl. And looked around and I didn't see nothing. But it was like a demon's growl, like you'd see on a haunted movie, like a demon would growl. It was that loud. And, you know, she was 86 when she died, and that's been 4 years. So we're talking, you know, somewhere 89 when she was little. She said that they'd come down here and spend a couple of weeks with Mr. and Mrs. Francis up on the hill in a cabin. And she said that when it started getting dark, about like this time, dusk, they'd have to get there cleaned up and get ready and get in the cabin. And that she had shutters on the inside of the cabin that she'd close up like in an old Western movie and put a board across them. They weren't allowed to go out at night because something would get them, is what Mrs. Francis told them. There was something out there that would get them. So, Mom said they had a pecan. They couldn't even go out to the outhouse. They had to use pecan at night. The pecan. They didn't want to make it fancy, the pecan. But pecan. Mom said it was like that every night. They didn't get to go outside at night. Miss Francis would have them all in there and close those shutters.
So that was probably in the 50s. 1950s.
Mom was born in 1935.
So
40s.
Yeah, 1940s.
So it goes back that far.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of stuff went on down here. My mom said the night that she got a full view of him on the back of him, she said she don't know if it was his color or it was the light hitting its fur. But she said it was tall as my Aunt Marcella and Uncle John's camper.
Truck camper?
No, they're Terry camper. They're pull behind. Because she said it was bent over looking in the camper window at them. Looking in their camper. And she said this whole back looked silver. Looked silver. Because she said it looked like a silver man standing there. That was as tall as the camper bending over. Because you know with those camper windows, how far are they up a pull behind? I mean, you got wheels and then you got the camper.
6 foot.
And he was bent over looking in it.
6, 7 foot.
We was all teenagers, you know, when we came down here, and we'd have bonfires. And my mom would say when it got too late or we were getting too loud or we were being obnoxious, you know, somebody was starting to flick fire, jump over the fire, being teenagers. She'd say, time for bed, get your asses to bed. And we all went to bed. And Mom looked out the porch and seen someone sitting by the fire. And she said, I told you to get your ass to bed. And she said about that time, it stood up. And she realized it wasn't one of our kids. It was that big man. Big, furry man. And she said she realized when it stood up by that fire. She said she was going out there too. And it stood up. She said it's a good thing it stood up because she'd have made it all the way out there to him with the whooping stick. She's going to beat his ass with the switch.
With the mean switch.
Yeah.
Or the mean shoe.
Yeah. Get the chancla out after him. Yeah. That was another time. One time a cousin, they came down in their pickup and had just the camper shell on the pickup. This was all around the same time, except for when Mom was little. You know, it was all around the same time. Late 70s. Late 70s, early 80s, and I'd say more like late 70s, mid 70s, because when we moved down here, I was my senior year, so I'd say more 70s. And they came down here and had, you know, new Ford pickup and camper shell on it, and they'd put a piece of plywood back there with the mattress to make their bed. To sleep in their camper shell, in their truck, back of the truck. Well, Charlotte was pregnant, and Mike, he was a conservationist. Well, they pulled up, and everybody was asleep. No, nobody was up, so they just automatically started getting ready to go to bed. Mike was taking his guns out of the back of the truck and putting them up in the front of the truck behind his truck seat, and he thought Charlotte fell because the whole back end of the truck went down, like he thought she hit the tailgate and fell, and she thought Mike had hurt himself because she was making the bed and her back was toward the back of the truck. They both screamed and ran toward each other, toward the back of the truck, and something had pushed that tailgate down, and that's what it was. Neither one of them had touched the tailgate. But
Tailgate bent?
no, they didn't say it was bent. It wasn't bent. I don't remember it being bent. But you know what? That's the last time they come camping down here. I believe that was the last time they came. And if they did, they didn't stay outside. They stayed inside. There was a lot of stuff that went on them years. One time, we was all sitting around the campfire. Something screamed so loud. We was all trying to get in that screened-in back porch to get to that real door to the cabin. Mom said, "What the hell are you guys doing? You're going to tear off the new door." We said, "Something's out there screaming." Mom said, "Oh," and then Dad said, "Oh, that's a panther." Because you used to hear panther screams, but when we hear them scream, they'd always sound like women screaming, you know. And that didn't sound like a woman screaming. It was scary. It was scary back then. We being kids, it didn't stop us from running around here at night. You'd come back from going somewhere, you'd be walking, and back then Dad wouldn't let you have as good flashlights, you know, to carry. Oh, you walked everywhere by the moonlight and in the dark. And we was coming back from the bridge one time, and you could hear like somebody walking in the woods next to you. You know, you're walking on the dirt road and you can hear it like somebody's following you. But you don't see nobody. You can hear it crunching, limbs moving and crunching. And you'd stop and then you'd hear like, you know, and you'd start again and you'd hear it again. No deer is going to follow you, you know.
Being stalked.
Yeah. My bedroom, when we first moved down here into 81, when we moved here permanently because Dad was sick with cancer and he wanted he was in remission, and he didn't want to live in the county no more, St. Louis County, in Manchester. He wanted to live out here because he loved it here. Loved it. So we moved down here, and when we moved into the cabin, there was no running water. There was electric, we moved into the 2-room cabin with a screened-in porch on it. So they built onto that cabin. Well, my bedroom ended up being the old kitchen. They redid it, and that was my bedroom. And the windows were still, you know, 8 feet off the ground where the bottom of the windowsill was. And I used to see somebody looking in my window almost every night. And it scared me. And I'd end up sleeping in the living room and on the couch. Well, my dad told me next time that happens, roll out of your bed on the floor and crawl down to my room and tell me. And I did. Dad crawled in there and got in bed and waited. And someone looked in the window, and my dad shot through the screens at whatever or whoever it was. It couldn't have been a whoever looking 8 foot in the window. They'd had to been 10 foot tall to be where you could see them. You know? So my dad shot through there, and he went out there. There was no blood, nobody around. But he said he shot him. He knows he did. He shot through the damn screen to get him.
Somewhere around here is a one-eyed Sasquatch. We've had a few incidences that happened. After the house burnt, we had our fifth wheel, our motorhome parked next door, out of the way. So, you know, we didn't want to keep that thing in the way. So me and Lisa went over there one night. We were sleeping. We had the water and everything hooked up. And it was probably about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe later than that. Something hit the side of that camper so hard. I mean, it was like they hit it hard, shook the whole camper. It's got hydraulic jacks go down. It stabilizes it. And it hit it hard, moved the whole thing. So we was like, what was that? You know, I ain't going out there. You know, all these stories and stuff, I ain't going out there. I have this thing. And next morning, I figured it'd be like an owl or something that came down and smacked the side of the camper. I went out there to see if I could find something, bird or something dead laying in. And I walked around the camper 3 or 4 times looking for feathers, footprints, something. And I just happened to walk kind of to the side of it and look down. I looked up. It was about 7 feet up. There's a great big old handprint. And, my hand's a pretty good size. And it was about this much longer all the way around. You can see right where it's whacked it. And, the camper, it needed polished. So I had a little dull finish. And where you hit it, you just kind of cleaned that dull off, and I called Adam. He'd come over and he documented it, took pictures, measured it, stuff. Pretty good sized hand. We stayed there a couple of nights. A couple of nights later, something, we don't know what it was, tried to get in the camper. And we had the door locked, but you could still move the handle, on the door handle on it, and it made a noise. It clink, 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 like camper doors make a certain noise when you open them, shut them, and they went clink, clink, clink 3 times, and it was like something's trying to get in. So I thought maybe it's the boys, trying to play a scare tactic on me or something. So I like don't open it up real quick. There wasn't nothing was around it. So that happened like 3 or 4 times. Something trying to bang on the camper or try to get in the door, and it was kind of scary. The time camper was parked here in the backyard, and it was backed in, so the headlights was pointing toward the creek. And we had the awning out, and we was sitting there in the lawn chairs, and it was almost dark. It was summertime, you know, and it was nice, and we had the air conditioner on. And Lisa goes, "What's that?" "I don't know." I said, "Listen, you can hear something kind of splash, and hear rocks moving in the creek." And I said, "It's probably a deer, you know, across. Let's go look at it." So I got up and I grabbed my flashlight and I went around the corner and walked down through there, and I was looking, you know, and I could see something going through the woods. It was going to the left, coming up out of the creek. I was like, I could see it, but I couldn't tell what it was. And then I lost it. Like, where'd it go? And I was like, I looked. There was a great big sycamore tree that had a big V in it, and I looked right between them, and I could see brown. I said, "Right there, there's the deer." I said, looked at Lisa. She's standing right beside me. I said, "It's deer. It's a deer. Look, right there." About that time, up here, the black moved, and then the brown moved, and then it was walking kind of away from us. So it was not right behind the tree. It was kind of a ways. So it was walking away from us, and I was like, I could see, all I could see was like black, and we both seen it at the same time. We was like, oh, so we started backing up, and the first thing I thought of, because Adam was in the front yard cooking hamburgers on his grill, and that's all I could think of was go get Adam, because that thing was headed toward the road. We've been trying to find this thing forever. So I was backing up real fast. I turned around and Lisa goes, don't leave me, don't leave me. So she went to the camper. She was kind of behind me, and I ran to the front and I said, it's headed toward the road. I was excited.
What color was its eyes?
When it was walking away from us, just for an instant, that thing turned to the left and looked at us like that, and all I seen with my flashlight was two silver eyes. Looked like two little chrome dots. Just for a second, like just like that.
How tall was it?
Oh, it was 7, 8 foot, maybe taller. I don't know. After it all said and done, we went down there, and I told Adam to go down. I was stood up here, and he went down in the woods, and I said, I seen it right there, but I could see it was like up here, you know, its head, and it was going pretty quick through the woods, and then it just disappeared. I don't know where it went, and then it started walking away from us and turned and looked at us just for a second. I could still see that. I could still, just like it just happened, I could still see those two silver dots turn around looking at me. Scary. I don't know what it was. I'm not sure for sure if I really want to know what it was. We've had a lot of scary, unknown things happen here in these woods.
Like what? Name off just things that happened here.
Well, what Grandma used to talk about was that great big silver thing that was walking. Big thunderstorm was happening, and the lightning, you know, when the lightning, you see this silver thing walking down across in the field over there, walking across, and she said when the lightning said the thing, she had a white fence. Remember the white fence we had to take down? That white fence, it said it stepped right over that fence, and she was so scared she went in her bedroom and shut the door, and she had a .22 rifle, and she sat there with that rifle, thought that thing was going to come in the house, but it never did. She had 2 blankets, 2 curtains, and a shade on her bedroom window.
And a shower curtain.
And a shower curtain, that's right, she did. She had all. She didn't want nothing to look in that window, because she said she seen it look down in her window at her when she's laying in bed. Her head was at the window, so she looked up like this, and she said she could see it looking right in her. She said this thing was big, whatever it was.
And she had boards over her bathroom window.
Yeah, she had the boards. She screwed boards over her bathroom window because she was afraid it was going to look in or at her when she was in the bathtub or in the shower or whatever. You know, she was great grandma. One of the stories she always told us, you know, she tells it for the truth, that she would, her great grandma was from Mexico, and she was a witch, and she remembers watching her make the little stuff. Back then they had just little stuffed stick dolls, they call them. They just take like cotton and stuff it in there and they make dolls out of them, and said she remembers watching her make the dolls dance. And through the generations there was a black book, and it got given to Rita, and she buried it somewhere on this property, and she took that location to her grave. She didn't want nobody to find it, and we're not going to look for it. We don't want to find it. Yeah, we've seen a lot of weird, unknown things happen here that we can't explain.
The lights.
Like what?
The lights in your camper at night?
Yeah, had that happen. Before we had the motor home, we had another camper, and we had the tongue of it pointing that way, so the bedroom was up on that end, and had that light on the outside. It was an LED light. It was pretty bright. And one night we went in there, and on the weekends we'd come over here and just stay in the camper, you know, and grandkids, you know, whoever comes around, you know, everybody's welcome, you know. And one night we was laying in bed, and I see lights go by the window. But somebody's here. I see headlights go by, you know, because you can go around here and you can pull up there and you can see the lights, because the door was on that side. You can pull right around there, and you know, the grandkids or whoever, they go turn their lights on, and that way they can see to get in the camper. So I got up and I went and unlocked the door and opened the door to see who it was, and there wasn't nobody there. I was like, man, that was weird. So I shut the door. I told Lisa, I said, there ain't nobody here. And she goes, well, where were those lights? I said, hell if I know. You know, so I got back in bed, and I was there about 20 minutes, kind of like looking at it, I could see it again, you know. And about that time, lights went again, and again, I was like, looked up, and it went by the kitchen window, just like that, a white, bright light. Nobody there. Their older brother said he's come down here and he's seen like a real bright orb go down this creek, go all the way down through there. He said they sat here and looked at it, and him and I guess John Copland, I guess that's who was with him, so they were coming out here to camp, and he said they seen that light, and they said they both left. They didn't know what it was. It scared them. Lisa's got a cousin that built a cabin down the road here, so we go down there and see him when he shows up. And one night we're sitting out there, sitting around a bonfire, you know, and I was looking up the sky, you know, and you see the lights go by. It's probably satellites or whatever. And I looked up and I said, look, and I seen 3 in a triangle lights, and they're pretty bright. They're going straight east, and we all looked up like there's a triangle. That's the second time I've seen those around here. Adam says that's the ones you got to worry about.
Well, I don't even know where to start, really. I don't. This place, my grandmother had so many things happen here, and she warned me about it before she even passed away. She said that things were probably going to come back and get more wild, and she just said ignore it, but here we are. Talk about the my brand new 2023 house is haunted. Put it that way. It's things walking down the hallways at night, and cabinet doors opening, doors closing. I got my laundry room light always comes on and off. What else happens? I swear I see things in the middle of the night. I get up like 3 o'clock every night, and I swear I hear things.
Smoke alarms.
Yep, my smoke alarms go off, and they're all synced together, so it's like, and about that time you're getting ready to try to shut them down, they just stop.
Hang on.
I got a question
What?
that
Hang
I'm
on.
actually curious about.
Hang on, it's not focusing.
Just hold this. Hold this button down.
It keeps trying to focus behind him for some reason.
What's behind me?
No, I seriously have a question though. What was your first ever cryptid experience here on this property? Like, what was your first, like, it's here moment?
It'd probably be a night with Adam and Josh. That's probably the first. We always knew it was haunted, but that night we knew something else was here. Between the orb and...
You talking about when you took the dirt bikes?
No, the night me and Adam and Josh just come out here to film and say, well, Grandma always talks about it, let's go out here. And we seen it in front of Dad's camera. His light is probably the... before that we did get chased. We were 16, 17 maybe. I think 16. No, I had to be younger than that. I had that Fooler, and me and my cousins got chased down the road by headlights, but just there was no car behind us when we stopped. And there ain't nowhere to turn off the road. Nowhere. That's probably the first time something's really happened to us. To me, anyways. But I think that was spirit or UFO.
You didn't have anything cryptid? I just can't believe that Grandma being on this property so long, you guys don't have any remembrance.
I can't remember. I always wondered why Grandma watches, you know. Or always check in on us. We used to float this creek at night. When the sun start coming down, we'll be walking up the road.
When you moved into the property, what things, when you first moved in the old house, what started happening?
Well, there was stuff would be on the wall. Me and Sabrina be sleeping. That happened quite a few times. There was my guitar would play when I wasn't home. Sabrina says my guitar would play. There was a night it kept talking and making these weird noises and walking around Adam's old camper that we had in the front yard, and I told it to go away. It's time for bedtime, and of course you could just hear it over there just walking around, and I shot a round off up in the air. I think I was on the phone with Adam when it happened, or I shot it and then called you back. It sounded like I shot it. It took off screaming like a full-grown man screaming down through the woods. Kind of made me feel bad because I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go to bed. We had did you guys hear that?
Mm-hmm.
The tree knock, wasn't it?
It sounded like it.
When you were in the camper,
Yes.
tell that story.
Yep. Well, my house burned down and we were living in a camper, and is that 3? was weird.
I don't know what that was. It was like a poof.
Yeah. I had the window open. You could hear this thing walking around. We just put gravel down where the house was gonna go, and you could hear it walking around out there. I mean, just straight up walking around the camper. And I recorded it, which you can kind of hear it in the recording. I called Adam, and he come over fast. But we never did find it. I bet if we had that drone, we would have seen it.
Oh, that's why we got it now.
There's that footsteps. That's like a week after the house burnt. Footstep in the mud. Yeah, footprint in the mud.
How often does activity happen on your property?
Activity?
Yeah. How often does these things?
Quite often. Hooting and hollering. I don't really have nothing beating on the house or anything like that anymore, but you do hear a lot of whoops and howls every now and then. Last night we heard something in the woods. That scared me because I was down there with no weapon. I was dumb.
Yeah, on your camera.
Oh yeah. One night I think I talked about that before on here, where we caught it on, we was over at Adam's house, and all of Miguel and everyone was over there, and Sabrina sent me a message saying, what the heck was this? And it was growling and grunting through our security camera. So we come over as fast as we can. Do you still have that?
Yep.
And we didn't find nothing with the drone or anything. You used the drone, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a couple times after that too that's happened, and she's got it on recording.
You got the back camera picked up what sound like whistling.
Yeah. Talking.
Like chatter.
Yeah. The scariest night was Sabrina was letting the dog go potty, and she had something growling at her. And I come out here, and he come over, and I could have swore we had this dog named Roger. I could have swore he was sitting there. And I called my mom and dad. They were staying in the backyard in their camper, and they had Roger. So I think that was a little bit of skinwalker going on. Oh, I said it.
Why do you think this property has more activity than anywhere else around us?
That's a good question. I don't know. I guess it's a hot spot. It's a creekway, and maybe it has something with the family's past, or we're all connected. Might be a lot to do with the family's past. I just find it weird that house has been washed away, and been 2 house fires here, and 3 house fires.
Goyles.
Oh yeah, Uncle Goyles, yeah. Forgot about that one. Man, I wish he was alive. I bet he had some stories.
No, I guarantee you did. This is my daughter. She's a good singer and dancer. Her name is Emma.
Hello.
She's gonna tell us what she's seen looking in the window.
Yes, I think it was a ghost. It had a mouth open, no nose, no hair, just face, eyes, and mouth. The mouth open. I got so scared I started crying and yelling and yelling, and my mom, I told my mom and my brother they're in a different room, and ever since ever seen that, I got so scared of going outside in the dark by myself and walking outside myself. I get scared about something, and they heard something thrown over there, sound like a rock on another rock. Well, I think it was a ghost, and my Aunt B, and her name's Sabrina, she saw a little girl ghost on a training wheel, riding around a tree, and she was waving, and she waved back. And so I'm like, what? I got so scared. Well, mostly I was just doing karate stuff. I'm like, ah.
You ever hear Bigfoot out here?
Yes, I do.
What's it sound like?
Like,
You make a Bigfoot whoop?
no.
Try
Like
it.
this voice, nuh-uh. Well, you might seen some videos of BB doing Bigfoot house and stuff, and one time he did it back, and Grayson starts freaking out, and I think we were there. Is that right? Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Do you
I went over there with my cameras.
And he did it? Yeah, I know
I went
that.
over there with my cameras. BB called me and told me they heard something.
Oh, and Baby got Grayson and Baby heard a scream, and my dad had went over there where they have a new house, but not new. They got it last week. I can't remember.
It's pretty new. Do you remember that time that I was cleaning the carpets in my room?
Oh yeah, and something walked by my room. I was watching Frozen. I was 8. I can't remember how old I was. And by my room, something scratched on the wall. And we start freaking out. And then me and my mom started recording and sent it to my dad. And I was watching Frozen. It was in a... Nah, I'm not going to explain it. And it walked by, and I got freaked out when I ran in my mom's room. I'm like, Mom, I heard something. And then she's like, I heard something too. And my dad had the same thing, but instead, in his dream, my mom had a cowgirl hat on. I got so confused. Dad, there's something on your arm.
Can you tell the story on? Don't say what I heard. When we took the trash out? Start from the beginning. So you and I were walking.
No, me and my mom were walking to get the trash out. And then something in the woods down there said hello to me, and it sounded like a boy. And then next, I went inside. She told me to go inside, and mostly I start freaking out. All of us had dinner. We were all talking about it. And then my mom heard a old lady saying hello to her. So we start freaking out. She ran inside after she put Jess away. And then she went inside and then told us, do not go outside. Mostly, I was 6. I remember that. Mostly weird things have been happening at our houses, and that's not good. So that means more weird stuff is going to happen. That's not a good warning.
Do you feel safe at home?
No, I do not.
You don't think me and your dad can protect you?
Well, yeah, but I don't like going outside by myself. And one time when my mom went mowed the lawn, sorry, and my dad was on the back porch, and then my brother, not back porch, back here, and my brother, I was in the front, you were mowing the lawn, and then you went up there. I started to freak out, and I stayed still, and then something growled at me in the dog cage. And then I start freaking out, and then I tell my dad everything. And then you, and my brother. Can't remember anything. And,
Do you want to live here the rest of your life?
probably not.
Chicken.
My mom, I'm not a chicken. It's just, I don't like to see that thing in the face in the window again.
So, for multiple generations, weird things have taken place here. From, like we'd said, Bigfoot, paranormal stuff, strange lights, things that can mimic English, like talking in the woods. Some possible dogman sightings. Just an assortment of all kinds of random stuff. The paranormal stuff is really weird too, but it gets a little overwhelming. You don't know exactly how to wrap your head around it.
What made you think that the things that were happening was not human? Like, what made you say, this is something else? Was it something that you watched?
I was just always superstitious about all the stories Grandma would tell, and Grandma Gussie. They would sit around the fires and talk about all the stuff that would happen. Growing up as a kid, never seen nothing. Pretty much grew up there, never seen nothing, never heard nothing. Just superstitious about it. And then I started seeing some weird things, not far down the road after high school. When Grandma passed away, she left all the property to Shelby. And we started spending a lot more time out there because Shelby ended up moving out there. I mean, it's his house, why not, So the more time we spent out there, the more weird things were happening. Because me and Brittany had actually lived there for a little bit while we were in the process of buying Mom and Dad's house. And it's just everything Grandma said, and after seeing what I seen, everything became real. So I, at that point, knew what was out there. Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, whatever you'd like to call it. I know paranormal stuff's real too. I've experienced it firsthand. But after being out there, everything was happening so often that we started getting cameras and trying to, with all this stuff happening on, it's like, all I need is a camera. It don't matter what kind of camera. I just need a camera because our chances are really high. It just keeps happening and happening and happening. Let's get a camera. And then after going out in the woods and figuring out these things are smart and whatever else is out there, after getting into this and researching, you get into this high strangeness and how just the strange stuff, just everything in a nutshell is intelligent. So the more money we would spend, it seemed like the less it would happen. So we went from GoPro cameras to a Canon EOS 7, and then we went to night vision GoPros, and then we went to thermal, and then we went to night vision video cameras, monoculars, binoculars, better thermals, thermal drones, the camera recording this, better camera, just, but yeah, we just keep putting out, we just kept documenting this stuff as much as we can, as much as we could. And we started uploading them on YouTube, and they, you know, got some traction, and that's why we have people that are actually watching our videos now, and we're really thankful for that. And sometimes we don't have much to offer, but if you don't put yourself in the situation, you're not going to experience it. So that's why we go out there. It's like fishing. You're not going to catch a fish unless you're fishing. I ask them, what is the half-inch wrench screw? Because, you know, they'll see the ambulance. What's the half-inch wrench screw? Like, oh, it's our YouTube channel. Well, what do you do on your YouTube channel? I said, well, you know, we hunt Bigfoot, and anything out there is just weird. And I said, oh, I don't know. I don't think any of that's real. Well, I used to be like you. Until I wasn't. When you go from mentally a normal person where there's nothing strange happening out there, and the, you know, just the idea of maybe, to holy crap, everything I know is a lie. There's stuff going on out there that cannot be explained, that should not be there, and it being there. That crossing that realm is a lot to take in. When people first have an encounter or sighting, they don't know who to talk to because they know how crazy they sound.
Okay, what was your channel? Because your channel wasn't supposed to be just for Bigfoot hunting.
No, our channel was not intended for hunting Bigfoot at all. The half-inch wrench crew was me and Shelby and Dad and a couple of my friends. You know, we was really big into lawnmower races, and we just, you know, would film it and upload videos here and there. It was racing. Tried doing the vlog thing there for a little bit with it, but it was just a way for us to go back and look at old races from anywhere, you know. We found that footprint in our garden here, and we watered the garden that morning, and we went to a birthday party, and we came back and there was a fresh track in the wet soil we just watered. So that thing was in our garden in broad daylight.
Why do you think this area is so active?
I'm not sure why this area is so active. The only thing I can really say is the water. You know, Shelby's got riverfront property. We've got riverfront property. It's probably, if I was to try to logically explain it, that's what I would say. It's just cryptid animals following the waterways, because it's a source of staying alive, for one. Two, they're kind of like maps to them, you know, highways. I would say the water. I've never really been big on UFOs and aliens, but I've seen a UFO on this river. No doubt about that. It's the first one I've ever seen. You see weird stuff in the sky, and it could be a satellite, could be anything. When you see two lights like that big coming down the river, and then they just stop and fly up in the air, I wouldn't, from here to the river, I was looking at them like, I gotta go. I felt like it didn't know I was there. Because if it would have, I don't know what the outcome would have been. When you see your first cryptid, the whole world stops spinning. I mean, everything that you know comes apart, and you don't know what to think. You just, hard to explain. Just pure absurdity, if that's a word. Just completely absurd. When you first see something that you can't explain, that should not exist, their whole world comes apart, and you don't know how to put it into words. Well, you know, because you thought I was crazy when me and you got together. And then we moved to Florida. Things didn't work out. We moved here. We stayed here at Mom and Dad's until we got back on our feet. And while we were here, you've seen one. You've seen a Sasquatch in the front yard being a creepo. And then a few months later, you've seen a werewolf cross the road.
Yeah. I feel like it was like I put on goggles.
There's weird stuff going on in this world, and nobody wants to pay any attention to it. It's there.
Put in.
Do I still hunt? Yes, I still rifle hunt. Am I out there before the sun comes up? No. Am I out there after the sun goes down? No. When things started happening at Shelby's, we didn't just hide inside and try to ignore that it was there. It started going bumping tonight. We started bumping back.